Hey kids, today's topic is some of my party times when I was in London. Some kind of rock bottom moments. Two of them in particular. My 19th birthday and, getting, yeah, waking up in an alley. So I was 16, I was turning 19. I lived in an old Victorian home. It was 4 stories. There's 12 of us in there. It was a squat. It was a nursing home at one point. It had like a giant greenhouse in the back. It was super fucking fun. It was great. Like I lived, this is London in England, okay? I was there on a student practicum for school for my hotel restaurant administration school and diploma, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And oh God, I can't believe I paid £375 a month. This was in 1997. This was disgusting. So that's like 2.5 roughly. Yeah, that's probably like over fucking 1600 bucks a month now. Anyways, doesn't matter. So we decided we're gonna have a my birthday party, and I remember this South African guy I had this huge crush on at the time. Like it was a queer household for the most part, right? Remember this South African guy I had a crush on, and he had the birthday the same day I do. So we decided to combine them. We were started drinking by 10 a.m. That point in time, I started fucking taking some. They say it was pharmaceutical speed. I was like, fucking feed me, whatever. And then I took acid and fucking acid and smoked weed, did mushrooms, not PCP. I did as more acid, did MDMA, did some fucking coke, and I just kept on drinking and just getting all. Bleh. it was a day, right? So I at one point in time I was up on the top floor. I lived in the top floor, okay? So on the top fourth floor, and this place must have had a few hundred people just running around. And for some reason, my door was unlocked. It wasn't me. I think it was the guy that I lived with because I sucked his boyfriend fucking sucked me off, and I was like, okay. And he had this little fucking hissy fit, like, oh my god, how could you let him? I'm like, how about you talk to your fucking boyfriend so they get pissed off at me, right? Like, what am I supposed to do? Say no to a fucking good blowjob? Fuck. So the guy, I think he really did do this to me, right? It was really kind of interesting. So, and all of a sudden, people are doing coke on this fucking giant mirror that I had on the floor, like I had on the wall, and all of a sudden it's on the floor, and people are doing fucking giant rails of coke. I'm talking like fucking giant rails, just fucking huge. And I was like, oh, okay, can I have some? They're like, well, I thought it was coke. They said it's bunny juice. Apparently, it's just a mixture of all sorts of shit. I ended up snorting like way more than I should have. Like, fuck yeah! And so I was blotto, and people were fucking making out in my room. I had these two older leather guys, like just full on leathered up on my bed making out, and it was weird. Just a weird fucking. My room was the drug room all of a sudden. I'm like, okay. So I had the drug. I just kept on doing the drugs, and all of a sudden, my heart just starts freaking out. Ice, everything goes purple. One of my roommates sits me down, just goes. I remember Andrew. His name was Andrew. I'll never forget him. He was. Oh, I had such a crush on this Irish boy. I fucking still love a good Irish boy. And so he sat me down, just calmed me down, and then said, I need some fresh air. So I went in my room, took some fresh air out of my window, saw the leather boys making out. I was like, oh god, this is intense. Fuck this. Go to the bathroom. Bleh, fucking Ralph. Okay, a couple minutes later, everything's good. And this went on back and forth, back and fresh air, leather boys, ugh, barf. Wait. Fresh air, leather boys, barf. Okay, it went on for a while. And all of a sudden, I remember just being wrapped around this toilet, and it was horrendous. And I remember this big old fucking Rasta dude walks in and goes, hey, what up, man? I'm like, just nothing. I couldn't respond. And he just sat down, cracked open this beer, lit up a joint, and nursed me back to health. He sat on the bathroom floor with me. I never saw him again, but he sat on the bathroom floor with me and nursed me back to health. And here you go. And like, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, nurse me back. It was great. It was like one of those like moments you can imagine, like, I'll never forget. This is like 20 years later. And it was just such a moment. I just remember connecting with this guy. He just started talking to me about shit. I don't even remember what. It just started talking to me about stuff, and it was pretty cool. And yeah, so I woke up the next morning, and the landlord's at the door like, Derek, you gotta go. I'm like, why? Apparently there were drugs in the house, and they were in your room, and so, like Calvin, that's it, the little bitch's name, Calvin. And he said there was drugs in your room. I'm like, that's when I'm like, he goes, but we got to evict you. I'm like, where am I going to go? He goes, doesn't matter. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, and this is like the morning. I'm like laying in the backyard, like just fucking hungover with one of my neighbors, Titi. She was Spanish and she always had her tits out. So we just called her fucking tits. And it was, it was a great place. And it was just, I was like, I almost got kicked. I was crying. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I have no help. I live in London by myself, right? It was intense. But at the time, I was working at a pub called Pig in the Pound or something like that. It was on Old Bond Street. It was on New Bond Street, Old Bond. It was close to Marble Arch, right? And I met this girl, Polish girl there, and we started dating, and she always wanted to fuck, and I didn't really want to. I don't know why. I just liked her, but I didn't want to fuck her. Anyway, it was this whole thing. So her and I, we used to go to this club, like the club, going out together. So I love drum and bass, and I did a lot of fucking, went to a lot of jungle parties, went to a lot of drum and bass parties and things like that back in the day. Like, oh my fucking god! For those of you like, oh, I remember my first night in London. I was staying at a hostel, and I asked the guy at the front desk, "Is like anywhere to go out?" He goes, "Go over to the Hanover Grand." I'm like, oh, okay, sure, let's check it out. I didn't really give a fuck on my first night out in London, and it was home base for metalheads. Oh my god, fuck, I saw J Magic, Lemon D, fucking like, oh my god, it was just this, like Doc Scott, my favorite, absolute fucking favorite. I saw Doc Scott that night, and I was just like so buzzed on just being there. It was just fucking great, and I did that sound system was just like whoa, whoa, whoa. And like it was still to this day the most perfect sound system. I've never felt so much bass. It was like a visceral fucking experience, visceral. I just right in there. And it was great. It was absolutely fucking amazing. Like I danced so hard just on the fucking vibe alone, and fuck, it was delicious. And just seeing the big fucking metalheads in behind with the fucking headphones on, and you're just like the logo, and it was just like, fuck it, it was good. It was another one of those moments you're just like, pow, never forget. So I ended up finding a lot of these Rasta like fucking jungle places, and I just hung out. I was just the guy that just fucking was everywhere, right? And I remember going to this social club, and it was basically labeled a black social club. And you knock on the door, the guy opens, what's the password? I don't remember what the password is, but anyway, I ended up going. I remember there's a jungle floor. There was a full-on reggae floor. There was a jungle floor, and then there was a drum and bass floor, more a little chilled out, right? So, and there was a bar, and people just chill out and do your thing. And I remember on the main floor, there was tables, and I remember taking this girlfriend. Her name was Alex. I remember taking my girlfriend there at the time and smoking a little bit of weed out of a pipe. And then next thing I know, like, we're both in the fucking guy's bathroom, holding hands in the urinal next to each other, going, fucking face in the urinals. It was bad. It was bad. And then I just remember her being gone and me waking up in the alley in the morning smelling like piss around to this area. It wasn't my piss. I got pissed on. Yeah, it was great. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, that was a rock bottom moment for me, but it was whatever. It was like a fucking 19, who cares? Dust it off. Fucking yeah, party. Fuck yeah. So it was definitely a moment. Like London was definitely totally an experience for me, right? And what else was there? There was London Pride. I've never seen that many people in a Pride parade in my life, and I don't think I ever will. But it was just, I remember looking. It was magical. It was pretty cool, and I remember this poor forlorn, huge person in a fairy outfit, like ballerina tutu, army boots on, just sad, just was like, no one likes me. So we're like, our group of friends said, come on with us, and they just hung out with us. The rest, they didn't say anything, but they had a ghetto with them, and they played Dolly Parton all fucking day, and it was awesome. It was awesome. And then we all ended up in the park, and I just remember seeing like probably 500,000 people like forward and backwards. Like it's just, they were everywhere. Just a wall of people. It's pretty cool. Like London was an experience. I wouldn't want to do it again. I don't think I got it in me to do again, but it was definitely something. And I remember, God, I got to meet some cool people. Like I got to know like the fucking promoters for like punk shows. So I used to go to punk shows all the time. I saw Swinging Utters, which was one of my favorite bands of all fucking time. And I loved the song Jack Jab. And I got one of the promoters to allow me, like, just, I said, hey, can I give you guys a request? So they're like, yeah, okay, sure. Okay, off the request goes. I remember going to goth clubs. Fuck, I was just all over the place. I was like a little skater looking little shit, like, 19-year-old fucking like listen to Beastie Boys kind of guy. And I used to go to the Intrepid Fox, which was a full-on goth bar, like goth pub. It's 2 floors, and they played like fucking whatever, Bauhaus and Alien Sex Fiend and all the good shit, right? And it was pretty good. It was pretty good, but I was the only one who wore color. It was right on Wardour Street. I don't know if it's still there. Never really looked it up, but it was a great experience. And right up the street was the West End. And this was funny. Like a couple days after I left, there was a nail bomb that went off and killed a few people in one of the bars I used to hang out in the West End. And it was a small little like bar, like small, and it was fun. It was cool, but it was weird to know that people died in a bar I used to go to. It wasn't uncommon for this shit to happen. It was still like, still it was still like late 90s. It was still shit still happening. It was a common occurrence for bomb scares to happen. I remember I would be late for work all the time because of bomb scares. And I remember a bomb scare happened, and they're like, okay, well, you guys got to get off the tube and onto the buses. And I remember asking the guy. I lived in East Putney. It was south of the Thames. And I remember asking, hey, is this going to East Putney? And the guy outside the bus goes, yeah. So then I get on the bus, and like an hour and a half later, I'm like, hey, this is nowhere. I'm the last person. He goes, this is nowhere near I'm supposed to go. He goes, where are you supposed to go? I go, East Putney. And he's like, I don't go that way. He goes, who told you that? I go, the guy outside. And he makes some racial slur. And he was black, and he made a racial slur against a guy, Hindu, Sikh, with a turban, right? And it's like, okay. So he goes, fuck it, calls it in, drives me home in this giant double-decker bus right to my front door, an hour's trip. And he's like, fuck it, man, I'm doing it. And so he cracked open a beer. I cracked open a beer. It's like having a beer, right? I wasn't too worried. And he just drove me. We had this conversation about skateboarding and how one of his kids was a professional skateboarder. And it was a cool experience. It was like, this guy didn't have to do this for me. And at night, like, it's like probably well past midnight. And the bus stops at night skip like 3 bus stops, right? And so it's a walk. It would have been like hours for me to get home, hours. And it was cool. So that's some of my highlights for when I lived in London. This is in '97. It was fucking great. Anyways, kids, till next time. Peace. Love you.